Welcome back to The Newest Mutants. I am the newest mutant, Laz, but more about me later. Let's hop right into issue number 3 of The New Mutants Lethal Legion. This issue is titled Old Wounds, Old Weapons. It was published in May of 2023. First, let's get the facts. Credits are going to go to Charlie Jane Anders, writer, Enid Ballum, penciler, Elisabetta D'Amico, inker, Matt Milla, color, VC's Travis Lanham, letterer, and then we have Tom Muller with Jay Bowen on design. Editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics is CB Cebulski. Cover art for this issue goes to Javi Fernandez and Matthew Wilson. Now let's check out the cover. We have a classic Nefaria look here, and he's got Karma in his grips, while the other New Mutants lay strewn about his feet. This is a really cool cover. It reminds me of those old X-Men covers with, similar looks where we see the team just battered at the hands of some adversary. Another great job by Javi and Matthew. All right. We're going to pick up from where we left off last week, and this is from the comic book itself. It's inside. It's a little bit of a reminder of what happened. I'm going to use my trusty magnifier to read it. Freshly recruited to the New Mutants, Sheila Sexton, aka Escapade, has already helped defeat Sublime and his U-Men and prevented her best friend, Morgan Red's, death. But the adventure took its toll, not only on Sheila, but also on Cerebella, who Sublime intended to make her personal weapon. His personal weapon, excuse me. To shake it off, Escapade, Cerebella, and Scout devised a plan to rob the notorious Count Nefaria. While Scout and Escapade answered Nefaria's call for recruits to a new Lethal Legion team and fought their way into the inner ranks, Cerebella located Nefaria's vault. That's where things went south. Alarms went off. Scout challenged Nefaria. Escapade got drunk and accidentally stole Scout's claws. Also, Rain and Morgan are off searching for tech and taming beasties in the sewers and can't help. This caper just got cratered. All right, so that's where we're at. So issue 3 starts out with Mirage, Karma, and Galura having just arrived at Nefaria's mansion. Perhaps admiring the mansion, Mirage asks Karma if she misses being a billionaire. Galura has no clue that she was a billionaire and was surprised. Okay, hold up. Who is Galura? Galura? Galura is a newer New Mutant, to me at least, and we're going to find out together who she is. First introduced in Marvel's Voices Pride #1, June 2021. That's the first volume of the Pride mag. Galura was brought in as a romantic interest for Karma. Galura's real name is Gabrielle Diwa. Her powers include flight because she has wings, right? And she can actually use those wings to create like mini wind gales and mini tornadoes. So pretty cool power. It also looks like she is Filipino and may speak Tagalog. Back to the story. So now the 3 mutants are standing outside of Nefaria's place when suddenly Scout is like thrown out the window. Last we saw Scout, Escapade, and Nefaria were all about to tangle, so it's about to go down. We cut back to Martha, aka Cerebella, who has been previously surrounded by some of Nefaria's goons. She starts to use her powers to make the goons fight each other, but she says she can only do it for so long. Meanwhile, Escapade has taken care of Skullcrusher, and when she sees Cerebella for the first time in a little bit, she tells her, "I missed you." Aww. Now inside of Nefaria's vault, Escapade and Cerebella discover something. It's like the scene in Pulp Fiction where Jules and Vincent open up the briefcase, right? And like the lights like glowing back at them. Both of them realize really quickly that they found something dangerous. But what is it? Outside of the mansion, Nefaria is now attacking Scout, but Scout gets rescued by Galura. Mirage and Karma then step in, and they start trying to talk to Nefaria, peacefully, using words instead of fighting. When Mirage gets a call from Wolfsbane, Nefaria rightfully so, is a little annoyed to be put on the side for a phone call. But Wolfsbane wants to know where, everyone's at. Now, while this phone conversation is going, Nefaria, of course, keeps talking. He's that type of person, right? He's going to interrupt a phone call. He says, hey, there won't be peace between us because you guys came into my home and insulted me. Oh, yeah. Also, I don't like mutants. That's Nefaria for you. On Rain's end, Beatrice, the now named giant sewer lizard, that had been chasing them, gets spooked as she hears Nefaria's voice on the speakerphone. Rain wonders why. I think we have kind of an idea of why, but we'll get into that in another episode. All right. At this point, Nefaria activates his security system, and each separate group of mutants starts getting attacked by various traps. Now, during the fight that ensues, Mirage starts to use her powers on Nefaria. In this instance, she is depicting his greatest fear back at him, which is aging and becoming an old man. Nefaria, of course, doesn't fall for it. He kind of turns it around on them, claiming his fear gives him fuel. So we're back in the sewers with Rain and Morgan, and they were initially looking for some old tech in that sewers from maybe a Spider-Man villain. Well, guess what? They found it. They find this weird mech with J. Jonah Jameson's face on it. I had to look it up, and it's called the Spider Slayer. Now, I'm not sure which version of the Spider Slayer it is, but this is a totally hilarious enemy for Spider-Man. It was created by a character named Spencer Smythe, and it first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 25 from March of 1965. It's got a funny cover. Now, while Rain and Morgan are riding the Spider Slayer, Rain comments about the scorch marks in the tunnels, telling Morgan about the mutant massacre. We discussed that in the previous episode. She's saddened that it seems like everywhere she goes, she sees reminders of all the times people tried to kill her and her friends. It's very sad, right? So we cut back to Cerebella and Escapade. They've stolen some mysterious device from Nefaria's vault. And that's when they encounter the Unicorn and Volga Bell. Let's learn a little bit more about these two characters. Who is the Unicorn? First appearing in Tales of Suspense number 56 from May of 1964, Milos Masaryk was originally a Soviet agent. He's had tangles with Iron Man. He's been affiliated with Nefaria before. He's also done some henchman work for Doctor Doom. His most prominent power is this beam he can fire from his helmet. I suppose this is what makes him a unicorn? I don't know. Now we also have Volga Bell, originally appearing in Darkhawk number 16 from April of 1992. Volga Bell's catchphrase is kill. He says it many times in this issue and the next. It's pretty funny. Not much else is known about Volga Bell, but in their Darkhawk appearance, they're part of a group called the Paris Strike Force, and he's got a hammer and sickle, so they must be a good comrade. Anyways, rather than fight Escapade and Cerebella, they run. That is, Escapade and Cerebella runs, not Volga and Unicorn. So finally, after riding the Spider Slayer through the sewers for, who knows how long, Rain and Morgan make it to Nefaria's palace. Before I continue with the main story, there's an email that Sheila/Escapade wrote to Martha/Cerebella, but never sent. I'm going to read it to you because it's really sweet, and it really gets you thinking about who, Martha is, who Escapade is. For this one, I'm going to put my glasses on because it's a bit of a longer read. Okay, I'm probably going to use my trusty, it's not dusty, but it's trusty magnifier as well. They write the font so small for us blind folk. God. Hey Martha, I just heard that you're coming with us to take down that human installation we found. I'm glad because I miss you, and it would feel so wrong to rush into danger without being able to see your eyes blazing with justice. And maybe this will help you give closure or something. I just hope you are going to be careful. Either way, I'll be right here next to you, or I'll be right there next to you. I'm probably not going to send this email. I just wanted to write down some thoughts before we go, because if I die on this mission and get resurrected, I won't remember what I was thinking now and what I wanted to say to you. But if you're reading this, then I did send it after all. Hi. It would be easy to say that I make fun of things that scare me, or to proclaim, I laugh at danger, or some other BS, but it's more complicated than that. My family was not great. I know you ran away from yours, and I hope you'll tell me more about that someday. In my house, everyone was chronically, eternally pissed off. My father was mad because he wanted to be a famous Eudora Welty scholar, but after he got his PhD, he couldn't get a job because everyone was weltied out, so he got stuck teaching rich kids at a private high school. My mom was a therapist, and well, she drank every night, and she brought all her clients' issues home with her. It was a lot. I felt like if I could make my parents laugh, then they wouldn't come down on me so hard, and I could lighten the mood. So now I kind of feel like making people laugh is my actual job. I'm always scared that if I don't keep the jokes going, people will see me and hate me. So that's my deal. Okay, this was way too much info. Definitely not sending this email over. All right, and so with that, we can really see how Escapade feels about herself, what she wants to share with Martha. I want to say that they're really doing a very good job at developing Escapade, Sheila as a character. But, mad props go out to Charlie Jane Anders for the writing of Escapade. We cut back outside to the fight with Nefaria, and we've got Galura and Scout planning a slow ball special. Just an FYI, a fastball special is when a hero throws another hero at an enemy. It was coined by Colossus and Wolverine and first appeared in X-Men number 100. Anyhow, the slow ball special is just Galura dropping Scout on Nefaria so she can go to town with her claws, which had been briefly, stolen by Escapade in the previous issue. Inside the mansion, Escapade, Sarabella, Morgan, and Rain have actually now met up inside, and now they proceed to escape the mansion. Not after Escapade annoyingly catches Morgan up on her escapades, telling him at one point she had stabby claws. Outside, the other New Mutants are making haste to escape and fight off Nefaria at the same time. And then they make it to the rental car that Mirage and Karma got on the way to the mansion, and all teams kind of converge at once to the rental car. Awesome. As they escape the mansion, I think Mirage is driving, Karma's in the front seat, and Mirage starts to scold Escapade and Sarabella for their heist. At this point, Karma and Wolfsbane kind of butt in. They're like, nah, we used to sneak out a lot too, and yeah, we also stole stuff. And Wolfsbane's like, yeah, we totally stole stuff, and we did it to blow off steam. Okay, now this makes me think, are most mutants just chaotic, right? Like the Dungeons and Dragons alignment. Is there a single lawful mutant? I don't think there is. Like seriously, think about it. None of them live by human laws, like 100%, at least that I can tell. Even Professor X, who has tried his best to fit into human society and make peace with all humans, right? Even he cheats at the stock market, right? Like, he needs to make money somehow. He's just rich because, he can read everyone's mind. But I have to say, I don't believe that you can be a member, a lawful member of society if you are in a marginalized community. Simply because normal human actions are, made illegal by, people who want to marginalize you. So, are mutants ever lawful? I do not think that's the case. I don't think they can be. Anyways, that's just, commentary on mutants, like stealing stuff and sneaking out and, doing mutant stuff. So during the car ride escape from Nefaria's mansion, Sarabella reveals what they stole from Nefaria. It's a weapon that belonged to Uranos. It's unstable, and Cerebella claims it could destroy the whole island. Now, just an FYI, Uranos is an Eternal created by the Celestials, first appearing in What If number 24 from September of 1980. Recently, it looks like he tried to destroy Krakoa. This weapon is something he had brought with him in that attempt. So as we continue this car ride, the New Mutants are trying to figure out what they should do with this stolen device. At the same time, Escapade's inner monologue is filled with thoughts about her friend Morgan Red, wondering if her actions might have, strained their friendship. She's also worried about Martha, especially because Escapade planned this entire heist in order to make Martha feel better. At this point, Morgan mentions that Nefaria had once fought Dr. Doom, and that during that battle, Doom had drained Nefaria of his powers. This happened in Fantastic Four number 5, volume 5. The team figures, because of this, Nefaria has been seriously weakened, and there's another clue. With the Uranos device, there's a flyer for something called the Future Expo. And they kind of suss together that the plan that Nefaria has is to take this device and drain the ionic energy from people at this expo to repower himself. Of course, this will kill a bunch of, innocents. It is now at this point that Nefaria and the Lethal Legion has caught up with the New Mutants rental car. And Nefaria then introduces the final member of the Lethal Legion, Moonstone. What will happen next week? Before we continue our discussion of New Mutants Lethal Legion number 3, I just want to thank you for sticking around to this point and hope that you've dropped a like, a sub, made a comment, or even shared the video. After I finish my full review of the Lethal Legion arc, I plan on moving towards other X-Men mutant-related titles. I'll probably stick with X-Men, X-Force, and Wolverine, but I want to pick up Jean Grey number 1 when that hits sometime later this month, I think. So we might have like revolving comics. It really depends, but I'm going to keep with some of the mainstays. If New Mutants gets another volume and it's not like a mini-series, I'll also continue to work on that. So, hey, if you like comics, you like reviews, you like commentary on comic reviews, stick around. All right, it's time for my top 3 panels. The first of my top 3 panels we have is 2 panels, actually. It's from the Slow Ball special that I mentioned earlier. Why? Well, because Scout gets in a stinging pun telling Nefaria he's about to be a discount. I love it. Scout is slowly rising as a character that I like. 1, Wolverine clone. 2, puns. Let's go. The next is this fun image of Rain and Morgan riding the Spider Slayer. It's pretty funny. What I think is the funniest thing about the Spider Slayer is that every time you see it the J. Jonah Jameson video AI or whatever it is just like talking about Spider-Man being a menace. It's pretty hilarious. The best panel, though, in my opinion, once again, is going to go to the final page of the comic. It's a full-page piece, and it's framed with, on one side, you have Mirage's head kind of, in the foreground, and you have Karma's head in the foreground, and it frames, a nice Rogues Gallery image of the Lethal Legion. I really like it. It's nice artwork. Take a look. Enjoy it. So, what did we learn in this issue? What can we expect moving forward in issue 4 and issue 5 in this series? To me, the big takeaway here is Nefaria's plot to siphon ionic energy from people using a device brought to Earth by an Eternal. The New Mutants, sussed out that plan fast enough, but we're going to have to see another battle for that stolen device. We're also going to, be seeing Escapade realize that there are sometimes unforeseen consequences to good intentioned actions, which is good. Mutants and heroes in the Marvel universe very often don't think about those things. I like this. This is good character development for Escapade, who I think is going to be a very important Marvel character in the future. All right. Okay, that's the episode. But as always, I'm going to show off a comic from my collection that might somehow be related to this episode. And I only found one that I mentioned, and it's hilarious, by the way. It's Darkhawk number 16. Look at that bad boy. With the Paris Strike Force on the cover. You can see right there, Volga Bell looking nice and communist. I can't say I remember the plot of this book, but it's always fun to pull out a more obscure comic and take a look at it. Credit goes to Mike Manley for this awesome cover art. And that's the episode. Tune in next time when we talk about New Mutants Lethal Legion number 4. And as always, Excelsior!